Nice. Well, hello, welcome back to LSTV. We've got two members of the England Women's Rugby League squad. They're preparing for their semi-final tomorrow against New Zealand, and it's Tyra Jones and Georgia Wilson.
Yeah.
Amazing. How is preparation going for tomorrow?
Good, really good. It's been really positive today. Went for York for our team run. Loads of energy, which was really nice to see. So I think we're ready to go, and hopefully we can get a win out of it.
Yeah. Have you played against New Zealand? You got much idea about the opposition New Zealand? You played against them before, or?
No, I've never personally played against them before. I don't think you
I
have
haven't,
either.
no.
Many of the squad haven't played against New Zealand before, one or two have. We've done a little bit of video on them, but I think we need to focus on what we're going to do and our strengths around us. So yeah, going into tomorrow we focused on ourselves and a little bit around them through video, but we just need to go out there and perform.
Yeah, exactly. Focusing on yourself, as you obviously said, we've been quite dominant in the 3 games so far, beating Papua New Guinea, Canada and Brazil fairly easily. Just going into that game, they've obviously had a tough game against New Zealand. Have you watched much film on them, or is it just all been personal focus on yourselves and how you can exploit your strengths to beat them, essentially?
Yeah, I think leading up to each game we've done a bit of video on ourselves, kind of focused around our positives, what we've done really, really well, some things that we can tidy up. And then we've looked at, like I said, 1 or 2 things that the Kiwis might do or our opposition might do, a couple of individuals, but yeah, focusing on ourselves mainly and pushing on them positives and making sure we're doing them.
Okay, nice. And obviously it's a home World Cup. What's it been like playing in front of probably slightly bigger crowds you'd normally get playing in the Women's Super League? Obviously that's an amazing experience. Have you been able to take that in while playing in it, or are you still quite oblivious of it because you're so focused on the games coming up?
It's been really nice, hasn't it? It's been amazing to have such a big crowd compared to, say, the Super League teams. I've only played 1 game so far, but that's been at the DW at Wigan, so that was an amazing experience for me. And all the young girls that play in local teams came to watch, and at the end of the game, you're getting kids and even adults asking for pictures and signing boots and asking for your shorts and your shirts, which is amazing. And the first game at Headingley, the sound that the crowd were making was absolutely incredible. I think because there was loads of schools that came to watch. It was 2:30 kick-off. There was loads of schools, and I think it was actually really good to have kids there to create that environment and that atmosphere. It was really nice.
Yeah, like walking out heading, like G said, like that feeling, it was kind of like tingling. Bit of a surreal moment, the noise and the having all the kids there, it was just unbelievable because you kind of, the noise and them getting behind you, but you know you're doing something to inspire the next generation and they're there watching you and supporting you. So it puts that extra oomph in you to go and perform and do well. So it's really nice, and the atmosphere is just another level. Yeah, something that we've not experienced before, but something that's really, really nice and kind of just reminding yourself to live the moment. It's just a bit surreal, yeah.
Well, obviously, because you guys are probably the best England Women's Rugby League team that's come, obviously playing now, and I'm guessing you didn't have many female rugby league role models to look up to. Who were your role models that you base your game on, or just sporting role models in general?
Mine was actually Amy Hardcastle. She's still in the squad now. Obviously, she's one of the senior members of the team, but when I only started playing rugby league in 2018, so I used to play against her when she played for Bradford. That was my first season. I was at Wigan, she was at Bradford, and I was scared of her. I didn't want to play against her. I didn't want her to run at me, and at that time when she was your rival, you thought, oh God, she's a bit scary. I don't know if I'd want to get on a bad side to her. But actually, she's the most caring person you could meet in this camp, and she's someone who's a genuine nice person and someone who just does a job on the field and works really hard for what they want.
Yeah, I think similar for me, Emily and Jodie, they're both still in the squad now. We played at Warrington Girls and they were a couple of years older than me, so kind of I was looking up to them in the older age group, and as they were progressing on, I was I want to do that, I want to follow in their footsteps, and then now we're in the same squad playing alongside each other, so it's really nice. And obviously their determination, their skill level, their mindset, we can just take lots from that, and I think we all take a lot from each other.
Nice. And obviously, growing up, did you always start, you said you only started playing rugby league in 2018, did you play other sports as well, or was it always going to be rugby league for you?
No, I wasn't interested in rugby league. I actually played a little bit of rugby union at uni, obviously being a bit of a rugby union snob. I was like, no, I'm not playing rugby league. But I went to go and give it a trial, and obviously I've not looked back since. I used to play a bit of football. Well, football was my main sport, and I played hockey at school. Did loads of other sports, went and did athletics competitions, swimming competitions, fell running, hated fell running, but I got dragged into it because I was the only one that was athletic in the form that we were in. So rugby league was quite a last-minute decision for me and quite a late decision. So, you know, it's amazing, and the opportunities that have come from it, I take special memories.
Yeah, for me it's always been rugby league, and it was always going to be rugby league. Obviously I've done a few different sports through school and college and things like that, but straight from a young age I've always played rugby league. Played in a boys team from when I was about 9-10 years of age at Crossfields. Then when I had to quit with the boys team, went across to a girls team at Warrington Girls. Just continued playing ever since, but then also there was a bit of a blip, so when I had to make that transfer within the teams, I didn't know if I was going to be able to continue playing because there wasn't a full girls team for me to transition into. So it's kind of a bit of a blip in my career, and I nearly quit playing, so I went into refereeing rugby as well. So yeah, everything I do, my job's based around rugby league as well, so everything I do it's rugby based. So yeah, it was always going to be rugby.
So obviously you've both got jobs outside of doing this. How's it been like actually having a full-on camp for a World Cup so you can fully focus on actually playing, like focusing on the playing side? Can you see like your performance is getting better because you've been able to actually fully focus, or is it still hard to like go back into work? Is it going to be hard to get back into work after as well?
I think you can tell by our performance. So like our first game was a couple of days into camp, like we'd all worked up until the day of camp, and each game that we've played, we've just got better and better, and you can tell just by the recovery and all the equipment that we've got to help us recover. We've been having massages, we've been going and having ice baths after games. Like when you're playing on a Sunday for your club and working all week, you don't get that, don't really have the time to do it. So I think you can tell just by the way we've been performing, improving each week.
Yeah, I think you're right. Going back into work when we come out of camp is going to be tough for a lot of the girls, if not for everybody, staff included. It's a different environment, isn't it? But it's incredible to be able to live the life of a full-time athlete. And I just keep kind of thinking to myself, imagine if we could be full-time athletes, and hopefully that's something that females can do in the future, because it's just incredible, and the progression that will be made once people can make this a full-time career, it will be phenomenal. But actually living it right now and being a full-time athlete within this environment, it's really good, and we're really enjoying it. And as G said, we've made massive improvements just within this short space of time, so imagine if that was a permanent thing.
Okay, so you're talking about in expanding the game, you say there. So obviously the NRLW down in Australia is expanding, getting more sides in. I think there's now 12 teams. I think that might be right. They've added 4 teams for next season. And Super League, I think there's 4 sides represented in your squad. I think it's York, Wigan, St Helens and Leeds are the 4 sides represented. How do you think, or you might not, obviously, have you got any ideas about how the best way to expand the game, like the women's game in rugby league? Because obviously, even in the men's game, it's still a lot of the teams are based in the north. Is there any way you think that women's rugby league can be a bit different, expand into the south?
Well, obviously, we've got the Women's Super League South now, so it is expanding. There's teams down there, it is expanding, and that's something probably if you said to me a few years ago we were going to do, I'd probably have honestly said it wasn't going to work. But with the TV coverage and the exposure that the game's having, it is working, so that's the right way forward, is the exposure of the game, and hopefully this World Cup is going to do that, and the success that we've had and hopefully going to have going forward, then that'll put it on the forefront and people will watch it, more people will get engaged with it, and then that'll expand it across the country.
Yeah, I think as well, like some of the Super League South teams are in the first stages of the Challenge Cup, so that's another way that they can have an opportunity to try and, you know, increase participation down there. So hopefully they can have the chance and show how good the sport is down there as well, and the quality that they have coming through down that end too.
Another thing as well is like we had Caroline Colley from the Super League South, who was in the squad in the build up to the World Cup. So I think it's just proving to people as well there are opportunities there if you're good enough, which Caroline was more than good enough to be within the squad in this environment. Then the opportunities are there, so they can be taken. It's not just a kind of a one-way thing. If there's opportunities there.
100%. And obviously playing at all these different grounds. Obviously you said you played at the DW Stadium as well. Is there a particular ground that Tara you'd like to play at? Or obviously at York tomorrow. But if you did get to the final, to say I think the women's game is before the men's game, what do you think that experience would be? Obviously you don't want to think about it too much, but that would be, I think, an amazing experience. Probably would break the record for an attendance for a women's rugby league game, certainly in the UK. Have you thought much about that, or just focusing on the semi-final?
Yeah, like you kind of just imagine walking out at Old Trafford. I think we're kind of all trying to put it not to the side, but obviously we've got a job to go and do tomorrow. But just imagining getting the opportunity to go and walk out at Old Trafford and play in the World Cup final, it's just massive, isn't it? I don't think words can put it into perspective of what that'll actually feel like until you're in the moment. But yeah, walking out at Old Trafford's got to be the main one. Definitely, I don't think anything can top it.
I think it's such an amazing experience, and at the moment, yeah, we're not getting paid and we're not professional athletes, but you're taking away these experiences, aren't you? And this is the first year, well, next season, the newest season coming, the Challenge Cup final is going to be at Wembley, so that's another massive stadium to play at and an experience for hopefully some teams that get there, and hopefully me, but we'll see. Yeah, that's a great experience, and I know, yeah, big derby.
Okay, and then probably finally, you guys, obviously you started playing rugby union and athletics and all your different things, and you've always played rugby league. What would be your advice to a girl who's just starting out, just doing sport in general? What's their best way to give them confidence and obviously to start getting into sport? What would be your pieces of advice to do that?
I would just say never give up and always work hard. Like, I've been in loads of different sports, like I said before. I've experienced loads of different things, and I only started rugby league quite late, so you can do anything in a short space of time if you work hard enough for it. And one thing for me is when I'm playing my games, just enjoy it, because when you're older and you can't play rugby anymore or you can't play a sport anymore, you'll look back and think, oh, I wish I'd worked harder at that, or I wish I'd enjoyed it. And when I enjoy the sport I'm playing, I'm usually performing as well. So just enjoy it and work as hard as you can to get what you want.
Yeah, my main thing would be to enjoy what you do, especially as a young person. Just enjoy what you do, no matter what sport that is. Just give things a go, and if opportunities arise to go and, even if it's just to try something for the first time, or opportunities to progress on into a performance section, then just take the opportunities as they come and strive on that. Ask questions, work really, really hard. Not everything's always going to go your way, but you bounce back from it. It builds you into a better character, it makes you stronger. So yeah, but the main thing is just enjoy it, and yeah, with a smile on your face and taking every moment.
Okay, cheers. I think that's everything, but thank you very much. I really appreciate the interview. So
Thank you very much. Thank you.
you.
We both just went, thank you very much. Thank you.